over the course of the last year and a half, what we have seen are things like collaborative efforts on tourism with the City of Kingston. We've seen the impact, direct impact on the bottom line of the budget of shared services with the towns, as well as direct line impact among the safety net takeover that we have already begun. To put that in context, over the next 2 years, that means a 3-year combined takeover of safety net, we're talking roughly $12 million in direct relief to the towns and the City of Kingston from the county. Now, to get there, a place that we've never been able to get to, 40 years in the making, we've been able to get to this place because we made very difficult, fiscally responsible decisions at the county level, and we are prepared to do precisely that as we move forward. Now, when I speak of this being a nonpartisan issue, it's because we are standing here as citizens of Ulster County simply saying property taxpayers can pay no more. What we have up in the Assembly and the Senate right now, and hopefully we'll be ready for the governor's signature if everyone moves forward with it, will protect property taxpayers and provide us an opportunity to do what we did last year, provide the first property tax decrease in over a decade. And so with that, I would like to introduce Majority Leader Ken Rock.
Thanks, Mike. One thing I'd like to start with is that I was looking around at the people joining us here at the press conference today, and I can't think of a single issue where all of us could stand together, before this. So this is really an occasion it's rare, but it's good. It's good that we can all stand here as representatives of the people of Ulster County, of the City of Kingston, and stand against extortion. Really, that's what this is. We are looking at a home rule request. It's the same home rule request that's been passed every 2 years for as long as if any of us can remember, and has been passed unanimously by this legislature over and over and over again. And it's good at times like this to put it into perspective. The average person, what does $22 million mean? And to put into context, essential services. Essential services that the county executive described, which would be cut, is the sheriff's department. And I can't think of anybody in Ulster County that thinks that, decreasing the sales tax by 1% is a good thing if it means eliminating the sheriff's department road patrol, which is one thing that we would have to probably look at if this extension is not given, as it always is. The amount of sales tax that would be generated by 1% would be equal to just about 2 full sheriff's road patrols. So I'd like everyone to keep that in mind. I'd like the Assemblyman to keep that in mind moving forward as the day moves along, and if the session goes into tomorrow. Hopefully the Assemblyman will change his mind and allow us to not raise taxes. I want to make that abundantly clear, as the county executive did. We're just asking for the same amount of tax we had last year and the year before and the year before that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As we move forward, one of the biggest things we can do as fiscally responsible government officials is look towards multi-year planning, look towards responsible decisions, and to do that, what you need is continuity. And that's all anyone's asking for in this situation, not an escalation in any way, shape, or form. We're here to protect taxpayers. And we should never lose sight of that. Like we said from the beginning, it's about protecting property taxpayers while simultaneously protecting essential services for some of the most vulnerable people in our community. And with that, I would like to ask the Minority Whip, Hector Rodriguez, to say a few words.
Thank you, Michael. Normally I would probably open with a joke or something pithy, but this is just too serious a situation. I don't think in my 10 years as a legislator that we've ever come this close to the wire of not having our sales tax extended, and never before in this situation. These cuts would be nothing less than catastrophic, and you've already heard that. Now, you hear things sometimes, and one of the things that I heard was And again, I'm sure it's probably just rumor and hearsay, but it's always amusing to kind of go down these roads. One thing I had heard was that, oh, well, we'll come back in November, and then we'll pass the sales tax then, and it'll only mean $2 or $3 million lost in sales tax for the County of Ulster. I want you to understand what $2 million means. We began the takeover of Safety Net in last year's budget. $1.7 million. Now we know the next third of Safety Net is going to be north of that number. I don't know if we've actually calculated what that number will be yet. But we know it's north of that number. That $2 million means you can't take over that next third of Safety Net. We know what that means to vital services like mental health, where we've just taken some pretty extraordinary actions to basically go and save the taxpayers' money, and doing so in the face of state mandates that, again, continuously the state of New York cuts back dollars to localities, and we have to go find ways of fixing it. Well, we can't do that if yet again we have another $2 million hole that we can't patch. So the only thing I guess that I can say to our assemblyman is, we implore you, we beg you, please just stop blocking our sales tax. At the end of the day, we have the same constituency. We have the same people. We grew up here as well. We live here as well. I don't know why he would choose to hurt his own people, but I just hope in this instance he will reconsider what he's doing right now. And further, considering, I guess, one of the stated goals of his legislation was the takeover of Safety Net, we are already in negotiations with the supervisors, with the mayor of the city of Kingston, within the legislature itself, to accomplish that goal, to do so in a reasonable time frame, one that makes sense financially for all the taxpayers of Ulster County. So we're already doing it. So thank you very much.
Discussion that so directly impacts Safety Net wouldn't be complete if I did not ask someone who fought for 20 years of public service to transition a Safety Net bill. So with that, I'd like to ask Legislator Jeanette Provenzano to join me, and I will move the mic.
Just down a little bit, don't let the size fool you. Let me give you a little history first on the sales tax extension, because I happen to have been the newly elected minority leader in 1993 when our then chairman, Gerald Benjamin, came up with this magnificent idea of increase in the sales tax to wipe out a huge county debt at the time. And I must tell you, in that year, I fought hard against it. But it was the following election when I, and like most of my colleagues here, which state officials and federal officials don't do, is knock on doors in your neighborhood, in your district. And when they tell you, please do not increase my property tax, we want the sales tax. And I got that message loud and clear, and I voted every 2 years after that in support of the sales tax extension, because it's such a detriment to property owners, and particularly more today than it was back in 95 and 96 and 97. I can't think of a strong enough word that I'm allowed to say publicly about how I feel about what's happening with our representative at the state level. Disappointed doesn't do it justice. To be the only county of all the counties that have applied for this extension to have their representative hold it up because of whatever power he happens to hold as probably a senior member or a supporter of Sheldon Silver, whatever it might be. Look, if it makes him feel good and I say, you know, we beg you to do what's right for the property owners of your district, I would do it. But I don't think that that's the point to be made here today. I think the point to be made here, it is what's right and what's just to property taxpayers that we see local representatives on a daily basis, and we hear from them too. So, I hope, better minds get together and we're able to get this accomplished. If not, I can tell you that it'd be impossible to support the safety net takeover the next 2 years. And another problem that is very dear to my heart is the transfer of Golden Hill to the new owners. Legislators had made it very clear when they voted to transfer the asset to the local development corporation, that one of the concerns we had, the major concern after that decision was made, was that employees were looked after, were appreciated for the hours that they spent under county employment. And I tell you, I dread the thought of that being taken off the table if this sales tax extension does not go through. Thank you.